Premier as a means of getting money into particular places. But it's focus, 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 and aspiration, aspiration, aspiration.
The Swiss have now they've now voted to ban minerals. The French are proposing, I think they're going to get there, to ban hijab. I think they've refined it slightly that, we won't have it if you want public service. Now, does anyone in the panel contemplate the same thing happening here against the background of media attention on extreme Muslim?
No on minarets. I think it's absolutely outrageous what the Swiss have described, and basically no on the hijab and the burqa. But I do have a qualification. I think there are some circumstances, and I'd give the example of the court and sometimes the classroom, where hiding your face is something that makes communication very, very difficult in those circumstances. And I think you have to look very, very carefully at those points. I think it would be outrageous to ban a particular item of clothing in all public circumstances, but I think there are some circumstances, and the two that come to mind are the court and the classroom, where there is an issue about people hiding their face in relation to facial expressions. You and me just now is a major part of these interrelationships, and I'm unhappy that people choose to exclude themselves from those social relationships in those circumstances.
Thank you. Gita.
I'm disappointed, Charles. Hiding your face, I really have to disagree on that, because if you're talking about, say for example, if you've got a disability or if you're blind, does that mean just because you can't see facial expressions that you haven't got a legitimate right to be a teacher? I think we have to be really careful about the idea of hiding. It's nothing to do with hiding. It's an expression of your religion.
Which one thing would you change to challenge racism and make Norfolk more united?
Role models are incredibly important, and for my sins, I'm a great Norwich City supporter, and it's actually really important, I think, in changing perceptions. When you get a team that is diverse, that has black players that are performing brilliantly and become the local hero, it does subtly change attitudes in a county like Norfolk. So having sporting role models, but also role models in industry and in local government, and preferably in Parliament as well, that can demonstrate to youngsters that they can make it.
I'd probably say that a lot of this relates to kind of, the action to reduce fundamental inequality in social and economic status. Going back to, more social housing.
We've got some quite diverse communities out there in Norfolk. We need to find ways of encouraging people from, in the case that he raised was the Romany community, but all sorts of minority communities, to come forward and play an active role in parish councils, district councils, the police force, the NHS, whatever it is, to make sure that you're properly represented. And it's about enabling the community to really stand up and represent themselves.
I'd like to see a second generation Indian immigrant female being the next MP.
And Charles.
The school curriculum. When we moved as a family we lived in the London Borough of Hackney in 1998, our children who were young found the schools in Norfolk absolutely shocking compared to the schools in Hackney where they'd come from. It's improved a lot, but there was even explicit racism in the schools. And I think there are big issues because of the ethnic nature of Norfolk, which require the school to change itself schools to change themselves in key ways, and the school curriculum would be my number one question.
I think the debate went really well. What really shone through for me was the amount of agreement there was between the panel on some of the big issues to do with race, immigration, and the treatment of black and ethnic minorities in Britain today.
I thought it was an excellent debate. I thought the whole discussion was good-tempered. The questions were good. I thought the answers were quite interesting. And we had a very good exchange, I thought. I really congratulate the organisers for making it happen.
I think it went very well. The questions were all very good and also quite topical as well, ranging from McPherson, where we're at now, to issues coming up in Europe as regards the bans in Switzerland and France on religious expression.
It was an honour to be a panellist and to be able to talk about those issues from my own personal experience, but also interesting to hear what the panellists had to say, and I think it really
inflamed the debate in terms of diversity in the political arena?
I thought it was a really excellent debate. I enjoyed it. Really good audience participation in it. We covered some challenging and difficult issues. There was quite a lot of agreement, I think, between the panel members, but I think it's really important that we have these discussions, that we debate these issues in the open. So I applaud the Runnymede Trust for facilitating this discussion.
Coming to Norwich was a really good idea. The panellists were clear. We could see some of the differences between the different parties and different positions people were taking. And I hope it starts an ongoing debate here about the challenges around race equality and what we need to focus on for the next political term, but also gave people a chance to get a sense of the range of issues that are important to think about in terms of race equality.